how do you think we can make the most impact in aid? I think this is the question that is central to our work, but also central to our event today. And we feel that if we really want to reduce poverty, and in our case on the African continent, we need to support locally led NGOs. And this is how we do it. We want to create impact by supporting our partner NGOs to become the best impact makers. And we're going in this presentation to explain you how we do that. So first of all, a little bit on why we feel it's so important. Marta will take you through like our results from the past 3 years, but also our learnings that we like to share with you. And then we will look forward, how can we make even more impact on the treaty? And then see how we can make more impact together in Impact Direct or broader than that. So this is what we want to achieve in our work. And this is why it's needed. Like too much aid budget is spent on other things than impact, and it shows from the numbers. And besides that, many locally led NGOs face boundaries to really build a professional organization. And there are several reasons for that from research, is that they are mostly implementing organizations. So they have little overhead to really build a professional organization. There is a lot of training, but lots of training is just focusing on one aspect of their organization. And sometimes training, we heard from startup-based NGOs, is only to align to the Northern grant. So maybe to learn how to report better to the Dutch or Northern grant. And then around that, we see that lots of maybe individual donors, they don't hear often about solutions that are already at hand by African experts. There is a lot of distrust between donors, individual donors, and NGOs, and also between Northern and Southern NGOs. So all of this together, it makes it really hard for locally led NGOs to thrive. And 3 years ago, our founders wanted to tackle all of this and to try to see if we can make more impact. And one of the NGO partners that have been with us from the start is Dr. Karambo from International Peace Initiatives. And of course, with working with her and getting her feedback and her ideas, it also means that she was one of the builders of Impact Direct. And she will tell us in a short video what that meant for her and her organization.
Hello, my name is Dr. Karambo Ringera, the founder and president of International Peace Initiatives. And I would like to share a little bit about my experience working with Impact Direct. When we started conversations with the founder, Inemarie, I was very impressed because she had worked with international aid organizations, and she was here inviting me to work with them to create a model that would transform the way mainstream aid is done. For the longest time, as a person who is running an international non-government organization, I struggled with this idea of someone comes from outside my environment and then comes and hears my story, and then they go back to their own country and they write a proposal to address my issue. In the writing of that proposal, I am not involved. No one asks me questions. No one even asks me what I need. And so that is why we see that mainstream aid has not really transformed countries, because a country like Kenya has been getting aid for years, for decades, and we still need aid. So the question you ask yourself is, why is nothing changing? Or is mainstream aid really created to keep things as they are so that people can make money through poverty eradication programs? So I say the aid story is really, or it looks like a business. And so when Inemarie came and talked to me about what she wanted to do, I was like, oh my gosh, there are people in the West who think like this? That's amazing. And their approach is different because their idea is to change the way aid is done so that the largest percentage of the money goes to the ground. Right now, if for people who've done research with funds and how much is raised outside, how much trickles to the local NGO, and how much trickles from the local NGO to the people that are served, sometimes it's as little as 1% of the total amount raised. Because in between, the money goes to pay these international workers, then it comes and pays the local NGO, and by the time it reaches the project for which that money was raised, the money is gone. So this is a different approach because the largest amount of money, actually something like 95% of the money raised goes to the local organizations, and no one comes to tell us what to do. Once Impact Direct gives us the money, of course we will have done a proposal, and we say how we are going to do the work and how much money will go where, and then we do a report. And they will send a person to come and see that really we are doing what we are saying we are doing, and that is okay. And so that is why I really like to work with them, because their approach gives me the freedom to really address the problem within my context and within the needs that surround me. And that's a new narrative for aid. And I think all international funding entities need to learn from Impact Direct, because all these years nothing has changed. And if you look at us, for example, and the things that we've done with the funding that we've gotten from them, it has done so much, it has gone so much further. And thank you, Impact Direct, for changing the aid narrative, because it does not only show the world that we are able to, but it also affirms that I have a brain and I have what it takes to use money in a way that really transforms lives on the ground. Thank you, and go on with your great work.
This is a short fundraiser at GoFundMe, and the main purpose of this fundraiser was to be able to raise money to support families in Kibera, Kenya. This is one of the largest slums in Africa, and it was in the height of Corona. So in a span of about 6 days, we were able to raise at least 700 euros, and with that, we were able to raise 30 families. So this inspired our dream of direct donations to the people that really need it most. And with that great idea, and with zero budget and a team of volunteers, we kickstarted Impact Direct. So at the end of that year, we were able to have 5 NGOs, and we just achieved a minimum budget of 3,000 euros, which we were able to support the lives of 500 people. So that was quite a great start for us. And in 2021, that is when we acquired the Quality Labels as a fundraising organization. And that is the actual year I joined Impact Direct. But by then I was just an intern. I had just started my master's in development finance, and I was very fascinated about the development world. I needed to learn, and this triggered me joining Impact Direct as a fundraising intern. And Inemarie taught me how to do proposals and fundraise. And you can see that in 2021, that is the year that at least grants started to believe in what we were doing, and they started to support the locally led organizations through us. In 2022, I officially became a consultant at Impact Direct. I'm telling you the story of Impact Direct, and it is so personal to me, that's why I keep referring it back to me. So we started building a small team, but the main purpose of this year was trying to lay the foundation for all organizational processes so that we would grow. And here we are in 2023, and you're probably asking, what have you been doing this whole time? And yes, I'm here to tell you that this year we've had multiple milestones, and one of them is the great online reach. People have known us wide, what we do, how we do it, and what we've been able to achieve so far. Another thing is that we have achieved great project funding. So we had successful project funding to locally led organizations. And the third thing that we've been able to achieve is trust-based partnerships. I'm not so sure whether this is a common term, but I'm sure Sandra is well aware. We say that trust-based partnerships is very essential to achieving real development in development cooperation. If we cannot trust each other, then we cannot work and we cannot achieve that goal that we hope to achieve. So we've been able to do research to get evidence that this concept really works. And with the help of two interns from Radboud University, one of them is Renata and Asina in absentia, we were able to use the evidence to adapt our theory of change. And we also started to implement trust-based partnerships. And this is having open and candid conversations with the people you're working with to get to understand what exactly is needed and how do you get to that which you need, and what are the adaptations in the process, and why are these adaptations needed, and the learnings thereof. So we can say that we've done well so far. So at the implementation stage of the trust-based partnership, I happened to travel across East Africa to the locally led organizations that we support. So it was just not evidence on paper, and we needed to actualize it. So I visited several organizations, and we had these open conversations with the founders and their teams, and with some of them we had conversations with the board members, getting to understand what is the organizational capacity of these organizations. So we were trying to assess, is the organization a healthy nonprofit? So we had 5 elements, and we go through them one by one. And it is through that assessment that we got to know the strengths, the weaknesses, and what are the gaps in these organizations, and what are the next steps that they need to make for them to achieve the healthy nonprofits that they so wish. And during that tour, we were also able to decipher, like, what is the value that we've added to these organizations since 2020. Yes, we've been saying we've walked this journey like you've seen on the screen, but do they feel like added any value? And so this is part of the feedback that we got. And what was the main highlight was the visibility. That was the first feedback that we got. We've been able to showcase what they do. Mostly, the local solutions are not known, and that we've been able to show that there exists experts on the ground. They know what they are doing. They have the solutions, but they need resources and capacity. So I think that's a plus for Impact Direct. Then secondly, we've been able to support them access funding, mostly project funding. So as you can see from the figures, that in the 3 years we got at least 20,000 euros as a result of us showcasing what they do and the work of the organizations. So another benefit they mentioned is organizational strengthening. So most of these, like Inemarie said, the training sometimes are narrowed down to the requirements of the northern organizations. But through our interactions, we've been able to, they have been able to gain expertise in proposal writing, among other skills. And of course, what I mentioned, the trust-based partnerships. Once you trust them, they open up to you to a level that you cannot even comprehend. But if you put these boundaries that Inemarie was talking about, then they will just dance to your tune, if I may say that. I'm sure Sandra knows that very well. So, wow, I think I keep mentioning about the successes and what we've achieved, but during my visits, I also encountered a challenge. And I guess the main purpose of challenges is to learn. So I happened to visit this organization. It's about 200 kilometers from the border of Uganda and Southern Sudan. The settlement for refugees called Dongo. So there was one organization we were supporting there. And on getting there, I had to interact with these women, and they really need help. And we really purpose to support them. But in the process, I realized that money had been misused. And when you're trying to implement trust-based partnerships, there's no bargain when this is violated, and so we had to terminate the partnership. Of course, we had to explore whether there were ways we could work with them besides the people who linked us with them, but we didn't seem to find any solution, and so we terminated the whole engagement. So these also taught us the need to actually do these evaluations consistently so that you know what is going on the ground, because you could rally all the resources only to realize that it only goes to very few people. So here, as you can see from the diagram, how much income we've been able to achieve over the years. And you can see the steady increase from the start. I think in 2021, there was a growth of at least 100%, as you can see from the figures. Then in 2023, there's an increase of about 80%. And so far in 2023, there's an increase of about 17%. So thanks to all of you, Saspi, Walgazen, overall in absentia, you and all of you, you contributed in one way or the other, and we're so grateful for that. So thanks to all of your support. By the end of this year, we have supported 41 projects across Cameroon, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. And by then, we have supported or changed the lives of people, approximately 4,000 directly. So it means the ripple effect is much more, because we estimate that each family would have at least 5 members. So thank you so much. So just to wrap up that session, some of the projects that you have been supporting through us are under the Sustainable Goals 1, 2, and 4. For those in the corporate world, the Sustainable Development Goal 1 is no poverty. So any projects under that we support. Sustainable Development Goal 2 is zero hunger. So any projects under that goal. And number 4 is quality education. And we are very happy or excited when we see vocational training, because it helps reduce the rate of unemployment in the South-based organizations of countries. Thank you.
And I want you to take your 3 years looking forward. And there are 2 major things that we want to change, or that we are already changing, to get more impact. And I think it started with some critical advice from our advisory boards, which is here Bal and Lori, and online Naomi. And it made us realize that we were telling all the time about this direct funding because that's where our idea started from. But actually, we do much more than that. And we report it all the time on this lives improved. And we realize this is impact that the NGOs make, but it's not our impact, not our direct. So our added value actually is on how we support the NGOs. So for those who really know our theory change very well, you can see it has changed. But this is our level where we try to support NGOs, our partner NGOs, in 3 years' time of our partnership to become the best impact makers in their communities. And that relates to the second thing that we want to really develop next year is like from our approach that Marta was explaining you, there are certain strategies that already work well, or we see at least that there are successes, like the visibility really works for them, the project funding really works for local NGOs. The trust-based partnerships is really great, we can see that work this year. But on training aspects or capacity strengthening, everything we did was like on voluntary basis in some 3 hours with experts that want to come in. We didn't have budget for that. So we decided we need to go for a proof of concept, right? To all of this together. Like how can we best support our partner NGOs so they can really become sustainable and healthy organizations in our partnership, and then they can go and make more impact. So this is still needs to be defined all the details, but this is how we could see it work. Like we already started this needs assessment. I will give you a short example. And it runs about all the aspects of a healthy NGO. So Marta and Joanna visited all our partner NGOs in this kind of baseline. And it's the NGOs and the team, like the directors and the team, who really go through the assessment. It's a self-assessment. And then when Joanna and Marta, they discuss it, like where are they? And we started training on 3-year planning and annual planning. So it's really their plan. It's the mirror for any organization to see where am I and what are the next steps I want to make. And all of that informs the project that we are going to support and highlight on our website. It will inform the organizational goals that we can support with either money or training. And it will inform the training and support we provide. So it will be much more focused and trying to do all the things. And it also enables us to really monitor progress. So if everything goes according to plan, then end of the year we have like a document on how the approach works and what are our learnings and what were the successes. Then we can share transition stories from NGOs. Yeah. So this is how it looks like, just to make it very concrete, a little side step. This is the self-assessment as we now use it. So it goes, this is just a part of it. But you can check your organization, where are you in measuring impact, strategizing, where is my organization when it comes to finance or building reserves, where is my organization in effective boards or effective leadership, and also making sure that infrastructure is in place so employees or staff or consultants can work easily. And how do I communicate internally and externally? Like all these organizational stuff. You can see where you are, and NGOs already told us this is so helpful. You can really see where we are and what we're going to do next. And actually, we use it as Impact Direct to see what next, and it really helps us. So this is the basics. And next year, I think that will really be our core. Like if we can tell, like this is really our added value for NGOs that will help us to grow on a later stage. And that's something to work on next year, but it could also generate income if we can really have an expertise that we can also sell a little bit as a non-profit. And then the year after that, it could be a financially sustainable organization working in 10 different African countries, in West Africa, East Africa, and Francophone Africa. That's the plans, but of course, first proof of concept is the most important.
Kenya we love to ask, so far, they say so good. Even if it's not so good. So can you try that? So far?
So good.
So I hope by now everyone of us has a picture. Maybe not so clear, but at least a picture of where we are coming from, where we are, that is our current status, and where we hope to be in the coming years. But the question still remains, how can we best create more impact together? You already have ideas. I've been a teacher, I'm trying to do that. So the question is, how can we best create more impact together? So we invite you to support us to be able to do the proof of concept and also to raise the organizational costs.
So we took you through, like, if we really want to make an impact, then it should be by supporting locally led NGOs. And it's not that we have the full answer yet. We just took a bold step and tried to find an approach to make more impact. And we really would like to do that and learn together with you, as you have been supporting us for the past 3 years, and maybe you want to still keep on supporting in the coming 3 years. So that will be the discussions after this, like, on impact direct for broader.